What is going on, Jet fans and Jet Guru fans? I think we got a winning streak now, huh? For the first time this year, the Jets go on a winning streak. They beat two back-to-back good teams. And I know, hey, listen, a lot of people are going to say, well, the Browns are compromised because of COVID. I mean, how could you really say this is a big win for the Jets? All this kind of stuff. And listen, I understand. Listen, Mayfield was dealing with sixth and seventh and practice team guys at wide receiver, new offensive lineman, all this kind of stuff. But listen, they're still a 10-win team. The Jets were still a winless team up until this past week. And I mean, up until last week. And I think that you got to give him a lot of credit here. Sam Darnold, once again, he plays very complimentary football, game managing football. He's not going to wow you. I really think the book is out on Sam Darnold now, as far as I'm concerned, unless a guy comes in here and totally changes how Sam Darnold plays football and makes decisions. I really think that his ceiling is a higher end game manager. I think that if you were to put together a really good team around Sam Darnold, he's going to maybe not make the mistakes, but we just haven't seen too much of that, right? I mean, even this week, 16 for 32, 175, 2 touchdowns. I mean, it's not going to wow you. He's not going to throw you back into the game. When the offense gets stagnant, he's not going to be able to push the ball down the field. I mean, he had his starting offense, starting wide receivers, guys out there. This is his team, and that's what he can muster up against a team. Offensively, we're starting to push back with no weapons. But this is it, man. This is what you want out of Sam Darnold. You want a guy who's going to come out and not make any mistakes and not kill your team. I mean, you go game after game after game, and you look and you see Sam Darnold costing your team points and costing your team turnovers. And the last 2 weeks, he just hasn't done that. So you got to give him a lot of credit that he's keeping the team in the game. And then defensively, you see the Jets really stepping up, and you see them doing some things. I mean, Nathan Shepard, I mean, you got to give him some credit here. Coming on strong at the end with all the injuries, he's able to rotate in, a little bit better into this defense. And you got to like what you see. We were able to sack the Browns 4 times today. I mean, that's good stuff. I mean, Franklin Myers again, there's like some nice rotational young pieces on this defensive line moving forward that if we get the right coaching staff and we fill around some of these guys, I like it. I like guys like Fadu Kasi, Franklin Myers. You know what I mean? I like those things. Marcus May, he's always going to be up there as far as his play. I just think the Jets need to re-sign him, really not hesitate and bring him back into the fold. But I like it. Terrell Basham, another name. You just keep seeing him show up and pop up when he gets his opportunities. So I'm really happy for the Jets that they won this game. The Trevor Lawrence thing is out of the window. Some people were hoping that the Jaguars were, going to beat the Bears today. Guys, come on, let's be serious here. As soon as Jacksonville found out that the Jets lost, the mayor is out there and he's basically sending up, fireworks saying that Trevor Lawrence is coming to the Jaguars. And then the Jaguars put the nail in the absolute coffin by starting Mike Glennon instead of Minshew, who's the better quarterback, not only in protecting the ball, but making big plays. I knew the game was going to be over. It was close for a little bit. Then the Bears pulled away. It's a wrap. Now, as far as the Jets moving on and how they're affected, I know they can't fall out of, the top 3 for the way it is. So, it is what it is. You know what I mean? You got once the Trevor Lawrence was out of the window, I think all Jet fans, I think you should put that tank stuff away. It's over at that point. I can understand wanting a better talented quarterback, especially when you see what the Jets have been able to do the last few years. And, until Darnold put some games together, a half season, a season, just give me 1 season of consistent football, you're going to be a little bit hesitant. I understand it because I am. When I look at Sam Darnold, I don't see a lights out franchise quarterback. But what you've seen from the last 2 weeks is that he does have the capability of not producing turnovers. And one way that you're able to do this is by running the football. The Jets ran the ball 34 times today. You got to stay dedicated to the football, including Sam Darnold scrambling a little bit more. Now, Darnold only had 2.9 yards per rush, but I like the attempts. I like him like tucking and running and using his athletic ability, trying to extend drives. So the Jets ran for 131 yards today, almost 4 yards per carry. I mean, almost 4 yards per carry. Obviously, the Jameson Crowder, 14-yard run kind of helped those statistics a little bit. But you got to hammer it away. And I think this is something that you're going to see in the future. If you listen to the Jets pregame show, me and Kevin, we were talking about it. Like, you're going to have to design the team most likely how the Titans. So if you don't like the ground and pound, keep the game close, don't make any mistakes, put the Aaron Rodgers, the Mahomes, the Saints, the Buccaneers offense, just put that aside. I just don't think that Sam Darnold's going to be that type of a prospect for us. Going into year 4, even when you put talent around guys, how much better is his deep ball accuracy going to be? I really honestly think it's going to have to be one of those one-on-one matchups where the guy beats him. Darnold has a lot of time and he's able to throw the ball up. I don't think he's a one read, has the arm, throw it up, let the runner go under it. You see he likes to use guys like Berrios. He likes to use guys like Crowder underneath a lot, and the way that you set up the underneath stuff is by running and then setting up play action. One of the things that Sam Darnold is going to have to clean up next year, and the Jets are going to have to clean up by using Sam Darnold, is his ability outside. Because what I'm starting to see is when Sam Darnold gets shut down on the outside and he can't bootleg and do those types of things, can he be the quarterback to stand in the pocket, step up, and make big-time throws down the field? That is yet to be seen, and that's what you hope a new scheme, a new offensive coordinator, and a little bit of a better talent up front is going to be able to do that. We talked about it, and so he's going to have to hit it right away. Guys like Tinsley at the center position, looking at a guy like Brandon Sheriff at the guard position. I don't see with Sewell, it's going to be tough, I think, at that spot, because I like what I've seen from Fant. And I don't know if necessarily, Joe Douglas wants to get the best value at the position. Like, that's just how he is, And I think if you look and you go, all right, I got 2 starting tackles. Obviously, the talent level is going to be a little bit better, a lot better with Sewell at the second position, moving in either Becton or Sewell moves to the right tackle. Are they going to be both up for moving the right tackle? You don't want to upset your young lineman, especially a guy like Becton, who's already shown he could be one of the best at his position. You don't want to ask him to move. And why should Sewell have to move as well, figuring that he's one of the best prospects, if not the best prospect at left tackle in the draft next year and so this year. So, maybe Joe Douglas trades out of that and gets better value for where the pick is for his team and pick up some additional picks to fill out this team. The secondary, Austin Mollett, he made a couple plays during the game. And Farley, honestly, I think Farley saved this game, guys. I mean, I'm not sure about, like, if you remember that play right towards the end. I forget the receiver's name, is one of the 7th or 8th receivers on the Browns. And Baker hit him right on the money down the sideline, about the 3-yard line. And Farley came over and hit him and knocked the ball loose. That's a catch if he doesn't make that hit. And I think ultimately this game gets tied and they go into overtime. And then, who knows what happens there. But I absolutely believe that the Jets are not quitters, man. They come out here ready to ball. Very proud of the football team as far as their effort for the course of the season, right? Like, the results didn't work out. They've had 3 blown games, so this should be about a 4 or 5 win team, but not as far as results, but just the effort that they put in. This team is not talented enough. It's clear. They barely escaped. Now, they beat up on the Browns early, but they let them creep back in the game because at times this team is just offensively just, you need a lead with Sam Darnold and company. He's not going to throw you back in the game. So when teams start pushing back, I don't know if he has the ability to push because it's not going to get much better offensively from here. You've got Mims and you've got Crowder. So you get one more receiver. Maybe you're able to pull an Allen Robinson or something like that away from the Bears, like that type of situation. Maybe. But there's a good chance you might have another rookie starting opposite Mims with Crowder in the slot. Herndon could be returning. I mean, Perrine, maybe Johnson. Maybe you get another running back in the draft with that first-round pick at the end. Like Kevin was saying, maybe like an Etienne, a Najee type of guy. But, I mean, the offense is not going to look much different as far as the weapons are concerned. What you have to be more concerned with this team is the offensive line up front. But again, you're going to have to build this team. You're going to need a running back, a big time running back on this football team if you roll with Sam. Because I don't think he's going to be able to push it down the field. And I think it's going to help him to have that running back who could really change the game. So I expect Joe Douglas, offensive line, running back. I mean, what's the point of drafting a Devontae Smith if you can't get him the ball? You have a Mims, and he barely gets the ball. Denzel Mims had no catches today on 2 targets. He's honestly your number one. You're pushing him as your number one wide receiver, and he has 2 targets. The guy who has most of the targets is Jamison Crowder, which is awesome. You got to have a good slot receiver. But then the guy has like Braxton Berrios and, Chris Herndon. Michael Perrine had the same amount of targets as Denzel Mims. So we got to find a way, whoever the new coach is, to come in to get Sam and to get Mims on the same, wavelength, to get them to where he's pushing the ball down the field, working on deep ball accuracy and working on opening up Sam Darnold's playmaking ability down the field. I think is going to be number one going into next year. So we got Corey on the line. Go ahead, punch Corey in. And Corey, what's your question?
All right, Corey, you're on.
Corey,
you there?
Yeah, man.
You're on.
Go ahead, Corey, you're on.
All right, my question is, honestly, all right, I'm hearing all the Sam chatter. Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, go ahead, keep going, bud.
All right. Good game. I just wish that we could put our foot on their neck. But the second pick, I say Penny Sewell. With the second pick.
Absolutely. I mean, if he's there, it's going to be hard to turn them down. Now, you got to look at the fan contract. I don't know the particulars right now, because one thing about Joe Douglas, he doesn't like wasting money. He doesn't like making bad decisions. So having a guy like Sewell would be great, because basically you lock down both of your edges. And what's the one thing I started off talking about in the show? You got to be able to get Sam Darnold rolling out. That's where he makes most of his big-time plays, is when he's using his athletic ability on the outside. If you get 2 locked down, a right tackle, a left tackle, it's going to give him a little bit more time on the edge. And it's also going to give it, depending on what type of running back you bring in, a guy like Ty Johnson would benefit, because everybody knows when Ty Johnson's in the game, it's like, oh, let's push it to the left side with Becton, right? Because he's a monster. So if you have Sewell, you could switch things up and keep teams on balance, and you don't know where they're going to rush the ball. Maybe add in a little run pass option with Sam Darnold too, and hopefully a new coordinator brings a little bit more of like a college play style, because I think Sam Darnold, we have to tap into his athletic ability. So you're right, Corey. Thanks for the call.
You got to play to his strengths, honestly, And and I want to give a big shout out to Chris Herndon. He finally caught a touchdown pass. He been ghost most of the season. But Sam's not really bad. He got to get weapons around. I feel he missed Robbie Anderson.
Well, thanks for the call again.
Yeah, we lost him.
Yeah, listen, Robbie Anderson is having an awesome season, the best season of his career. Joe Douglas even admitted in his press conference that he made a huge mistake letting him go, basically. That's the one they messed up there. It'd be nice to have him. But let's be honest here. Perryman can go out and do some of those similar things that Robbie Anderson does too. And Robbie Anderson isn't just going out there and flying for the Panthers. Robbie Anderson's working the whole route tree. I mean, you look at the amount of targets and catches that Robbie's had this year with the Panthers. They're spreading him around. They're really spreading him around. So, Perryman could do some of those things. It's just, listen, when Flacco is in the game, they're 2 different type of offenses. Flacco's in the game, he's throwing the ball down the field, right? And so you're able to utilize what Perryman could do best. With guys like Perryman, okay, and the type of offense that Joe Douglas spoke about earlier in the season, is he said he wants to get guys that could fly. He wants an explosive offense. Well, if you stick with Sam Darnold, I'm sorry, you haven't proven to me that you're going to put that type of explosive offense together. I mean, again, the weapons aren't going to change that much. You might have one new receiver. maybe they could bring Perryman back on a cheap incentive deal for another year while you're waiting for this team to grow, because it is a rebuild. You're going to be a 2-3 win team. I mean, it's a rebuild. Regardless if you pick Sam Darnold and you continue to work with him, I mean, you're going to get a new running back. You're going to get one new wide receiver, and I think they still probably work with Herndon for another year. So the weapons aren't going to change that much. So how do you get the best out of the weapons? How can you turn Sam Darnold into Joe Flacco as far as throwing the ball down the field? Well, one, you could scheme it for him. Or two, you just have to admit to yourself he's not that guy. So what can you do? The things that we just spoke about with Corey on the line, right? You get a right tackle on the other side. If you decide to go that way, you got 2 lockdown tackles, so you could do your bootlegs, you could do your run pass options, and you could keep the defense off balance and use Sam Darnold's strengths, right? He's a young guy. He's athletic. The problem with Sam, and this needs to be coached up to him, is he looks a little hesitant tucking the ball because he's really a quarterback, right? He likes to throw the ball. He's not a runner. The problem is he's not a drop back quarterback, sit back there, step up, and throw 35 times a game. So there has to come a place here where Sam Darnold and the Jets, they have to go, who do we want Sam Darnold to be? Because you can't force Sam Darnold into an offense that doesn't fit him. We see that clearly. Joe Flacco is more equipped to run Adam Gase's offense with success. We saw him be able to put the ball up, right? If the Jets have better defense, what you saw from Flacco is enough to win games. But the problem is Darnold can't do that. So you need to find a coach who is gifted enough to fit an offense around Sam Darnold. And honestly, if you're going to keep Sam Darnold, he deserves it, right? Because you gave him Todd Bowles and you gave him Bates. Awful, okay? Then you give him Adam Gase. Awful. Okay. These are plug and play guys. These are guys that want guys who fit their offense. No. If we are going to rebuild with Sam Darnold, you need to say, I'm putting my job on the line. That's what you got to say, because that's what it's going to take to get this guy good. Because you're going to have to say, I'm going to put all my eggs in the Sam Darnold basket. That includes getting weapons that fit what he does. Why am I going to go out and get a blazer down the field when Sam is not going to utilize him? That's a waste of resources. So what do I need? I need a stronger offensive line. I need a new center. Maybe we could, the way Senator McGovern's contract is structured, you can't cut him. So you move him to guard. He has experience playing guard, right? So you kick Alice Lewis out of that side, or you move Lewis to where Van Rotten is, and Van Rotten's an easier contract to move and to get rid of. And then you pick up a guy like Brendan Sheriff. So then you go Becton left tackle. You go Sheriff / McGovern, whoever's more suited to play that side. You bring in a center like Tinsley, or you draft a center maybe in the second round. And then you got Fan on the outside or Sewell. So you build that offensive line and you draft a running back, or you pick one up in free agency if there's one available. We'll get more into free agents and college guys at the end of the season. We go through each position. And in each position, we pick out free agents and people you could potentially draft that can help the New York Jets. So that's what they need to do. This 2 tight end set, I think, could be very good for Sam Darnold. They signed Ryan Griffin, right? And as you remember, Ryan Griffin had 6 touchdowns last year, okay? Played very well. Wasn't utilized very well this year. Neither was Herndon. Maybe you could get a coach in here that could simplify the offense, right? Because Sam already had trouble with Adam Gase's offense. They had to simplify it for him. Remember last year, and then Sam played a lot better. So maybe you get a guy who brings the college element that could utilize Sam Darnold's offensive skills and can utilize the 2 tight end set. So you really kind of, dink and dunk and play action, run pass option, do all those types of things. And by the time you know it, you're moving up to the 40, you move up to 30. Then maybe you take a strike down the field, right? Because Sam is going to have to attempt at least 3 to 4 or 5 deep balls a game just to keep the defense honest in certain situations. So the way I see it is you find a head coach and a coordinator, a scheme that is going to be tailored around Sam Darnold if you keep him. Now, the other option is that's out there. We've heard Zach Wilson's name for BYU. They're calling him the Mormon Mahomes. He makes really nice throws. Everyone said, oh, well, those are nice, but those are really easy throws. Well, listen, that touchdown to Herndon was easy too. I mean, come on. You're going to have easy throws. What do you see from the guy in his leadership? What do you see with the accuracy that he puts on the ball, especially deep balls? If I'm going to replace Sam Darnold, why am I going to get another Sam Darnold? I don't want that. If I'm going to replace Sam, I wanted a guy like Trevor because Trevor's a 6'6" quarterback who could push the ball down the field, but is just as athletic as Sam Darnold is. So it's a little bit of a change-up, a guy who does something different. I don't want another athletic guy who kind of can't throw the deep ball, but he moves around well in the pocket. Like get someone different if you're going to replace Sam. Could Zach Wilson be that guy? I'm not really sure. The kid looks good, but these guys are 50-50 prospects. So the Jets are going to really have to sit and look at this because you go, listen, 50-50 proposition. We lost on Trevor Lawrence. Maybe, right, we take a quarterback late in the first round, maybe a guy like Trask if he doesn't move all the way up, and you say this allows us and gives us time to play Sam one more year, let Trask sit. And because, listen, we talked about this before with the head coaching position, all right? If you limit what the new head coach is going to be able to do personnel-wise, you are going to lose out on head coaches. And to me, more than anything in this offseason, right, especially now that Trevor's gone, you need a head coach, okay? We need a head coach that could scheme with what the NFL is today, okay? Joe Douglas talks about an explosive offense. I don't know what coaches are out there with the grouping that we have right now that's going to bring that. But what I do know is we need an offense that's going to fit our quarterback. If they could do that, we'll see what happens. I can't make any promises. I'm the Jets guru, but it's a name. I mean, I try my best, but I don't know. We all thought that Sam was going to be better looking than what we've seen, and he's not. Now, first it's the offensive line, then we're waiting for his receivers. They came back. We still didn't see much of a change. It's Adam Gase. Listen, eventually we're going to have to run out of excuses for Sam Darnold. For a guy going into his fourth year that's going to be owed $25 million in his fifth, he better start producing. I mean, listen, if you decide to stick with Sam, I don't want a yes man. I don't want a coach that's coming in like, yeah, I could fix Sam Darnold, like Adam Gase just said. No, I don't want that. I want a guy that's going to come in and says, listen, I like some of the stuff that Sam does, but I think that this quarterback in the draft could be a guy. Or maybe they meet halfway, right? Because the Jets have done Darnold a disservice. Maybe you say this, we're going to stick with Sam for another year. We're going to draft a quarterback, okay? We're going to draft a quarterback, or if Sam fails, we will allow you to draft your own quarterback without, everything falling on your head for not saving Sam, right? So then it's like, okay, well, Trevor's already gone, so he's not an option going into the interview process as it is. So he's not an option. So maybe I do roll with Sam for a year. The organization's giving me reassurance that if it doesn't work with Sam and he doesn't show his talent, that we can move on and draft another quarterback, right? That's meeting halfway. Because I'm telling you right now, there's going to be coaches that show up and say, I want to be the coach of your team, but I want to bring in my own guy, right? I've watched tape on Sam Darnold for 3 years. He doesn't fit what I do best. So if you want me to be your head coach and change the football team, not just one position, then, I mean, come on. So, and Kyle, you say I'm fixated on Sam. This is what it's all about, a franchise quarterback. Is it not? Is it not? So I've already talked about the positive today. I've talked about, Nathan Shepard. I've already spoken about all those different guys. But people want to hear about Sam Darnold and his progression and what they might do. So I got to tailor to what people want to listen to. Okay, so what else do you want to hear? Blessed Austin got beat, and if it wasn't for Farley, it's probably a tied game. I mean, I gave you that. I mean, on the defensive line, we didn't have Quinnen Williams. It's good to see him come back. Nathan Shepard, it's good to see him on the trail end. I like to see that. Bryce Hall, he could be a guy who could be our second corner next year. I mean, we're going to get into all that, but I think the main point here is, after everything that's been going on the last 2 weeks, is the quarterback position. And you have to square that away. And it's not just Sam Darnold. I spoke about the new coach coming in, new scheme, new offensive line, new running backs, new receivers. So if you're going to come here and you're going to put stuff on me, be correct with what you're saying. Now, back to what I was saying before, if you're the head coach of the team and you're looking at this team overall, I mean, there's some pieces here to work with. That's what I'm saying. So the new coach that's coming in, you want him to see the vision and not be hamstrung in what he can do for this team, because you're going to have some weapons to play with. You're going to have some picks to play with, right? And you're going to have some money to play with. And so I think it's really, really key here for the new guy coming in that's going to tell the rest of the world, the rest of the NFL, this is the Jets head coach. Wow, this is an up-and-coming guy, or this is a guy that's well-respected, whatever it may be. That's going to let all the other players know how serious the Jets are and what direction they're moving in. What type of offense are they? Because, right, if you bring in an established coach, okay, that's going to tell you right away, okay, well, this is the type of offense he runs. So that's going to kind of dictate, are they going to make Sam, again, be forced into an offense that doesn't fit him, or they're going to bring in someone new, or like I said, halfway in between. As far as the level of talent that the Jets have beaten, you got to give the Jets some credit here, man. Listen, you're talking about cornerbacks that are backups, that are practice squad guys. I mean, you got to give them credit. I really like what I saw from Arthur Maulet. I mean, they're going to make mistakes. I mean, these are guys who don't start for a lot of teams, but they came out here with a chip on their shoulder coming off a victory. And I didn't see any quit from them. I didn't see, oh, well, we won a game. We're not in the record books anymore. Let's lean back. They did an awesome job. They showed some fight. And that was something that I was concerned about with Q Will being gone. What kind of fight were they going to show? And it showed that these rotational pieces that the Jets have been building on the defensive line, they've got some promise there. And there's some guys, like I said, that are going to be coming back next year. So when you look at this team, you know, you can't say, oh, we're going to be a playoff team. It's nothing like that. You know, like there's a lot of rebuild that has to happen with this team. A lot of things have to happen the right way. And again, like we always talk about on the show, just because you have money doesn't mean people want to come here. So as people get signed, don't get too upset if there's some names that you want to bring here that don't come, because, you know, other people can offer them the money, you know, but the one benefit is, and it's not a good benefit, is like what's going on with COVID. You're not getting a lot of fan stuff, a lot of people coming in. There's going to be teams that don't have the money, you know, but you got to spend at least 80% of what you bring in. And so I don't know if those rules change because of COVID, if they try to add something in there. But listen, the Jets, I really trust Joe Douglas. I mean, if there's one guy in this organization that I do trust right now, I think it's Joe Douglas. I mean, if you look at the trades and the free agent signs and the things that he's brought in to patch this team, with not much to work with the reputation that the Jets do have, you know, I really believe in what he could do. I saw the value that he got in the draft. You already saw a few people pop from this draft that looked pretty good. So, you know, I got to trust in what he can do. And, you know, Rockaway says, with all due respect, Dan, if Mayfield had his weapons today, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Yeah, I mean, listen, we gave Sam, right, all the excuses in the world with the offensive line and the receivers. Wait till he gets his receivers back. Wait till he gets his offensive line back. Well, how could we give that benefit of the doubt to Sam Darnold and not give it to Mayfield, who's won 10 games this year and is playing on practice squad guys? That would be like Mims being gone, Crowder being gone, Perryman being gone, Herndon being gone, and one other backup, because they lost Beckham and they lost Jarvis Landry, they lost Peoples, and they lost one or two other guys. So, of course, like there's a good chance that if they had their full complement of weapons, that we're not talking about this game, like in the way that we're talking about it. But you know what? That's the NFL. That's the NFL, because you know what? Most people don't get mono, you know, in the beginning of the season, which wrecks the beginning of your season. So, you know, it happens. Things happen, and we won. So we got a winning streak going, you know, and it's something to be excited about, because you've already put the Trevor stuff away. You know, and so as far as I'm concerned, you just look at the victories and you try to say, what could we build here? And I do not believe in carrying into the next season. The Jets have already proved that. Okay. The Jets have already proved that you cannot do that. You cannot carry over into the next year, because the Jets were on fire going into this year, and they laid a dud. So I don't believe in that. I believe it's good for the individual players. Maybe they find out some things on tape that can help them moving forward with their route running, with the way they throw the football, with their confidence level. But I don't think that carries over. And the Jets are going to have a lot of turnover, a lot. They're going to have a lot of new faces in here too. So I don't think what we're doing right now carries over. But what this does do for Sam Darnold is it shows, hey, I'm not a complete mess here. Because I don't believe that Sam Darnold's a bad quarterback. I just think he's a game manager at best. Until he changes that and he shows me he can string together 300-yard games, that he can push his team down the field in crunch time and win, that he could get to the playoffs. I really think that I can't call him anything more than that right now. But he's not a bad quarterback, and he's showing you that, hey, if you run the ball, if you give me some time, I can make plays. I can limit my mistakes when I don't have to do too much, because he's a guy that you don't want him doing too much. He has that gunslinger mentality. He's got to clean up his mechanics a little bit, especially when he's rolling out now. In the beginning of his career, he did really well, but as he started to press, and then more teams figure out what you do best, right? And I think most teams know what Sam Darnold does best now, and so it's going to be a little tougher. So you're going to have to look at the game tape, look at the offense, and shake things up. Again, the new guy that comes in, he's going to have to shake things up and make people wonder about Sam Darnold. Is he going to run? Is he going to pass? Is he going to move outside? Utilize his talent. That's the only thing I could say, is that if you're going to keep this guy, you got to squeeze every ounce of talent out of him. You can't plug and play him. You just can't do that. And so we already spoke about the offensive line. We'll get into it again, like I was saying earlier in the offseason. There is a lot to be had here. The Jets could really make a difference this year. I'm really, really happy that these guys are starting to put it together a little bit. Some of these young guys, and get some victories. I'm glad that the Jets don't have to go through an offer, especially when the prize is already gone. And I'm happy that, they're spoiling some fun times for some people, because, we've been spoiled before in the past. And you know what? Go take a seat, Baker. I'm sorry. I'm glad that they won this game. At this point, now that Trevor's gone, I don't really care. So for me, it was good to see Sam not make mistakes. I still want to see more Ty Johnson. Did Gore get his 16,000 yards? Because if he got it, could we sit him down against the Pats? And I want to see Ty Johnson and P. Ryan, Josh Adams, whatever. I mean, if he got that, he could retire on the 16th thou and let that be. I mean, come on. It's the last game of the season. Let's get these guys some work. Not sure about Cameron Clark. I saw Zuniga today, and so, hey, listen, we got the win, man. Be happy. We got the win. The ultimate prize was already out of grasp, and we went out and we got the win. Lamichael Perine, we also need to explore, I think, his catching ability. Like, let's start working in some screens. Let's start putting him in some positions to see if he could be that type of back as well. The Jets are going to need it. The Jets are going to need like 2 or 3 backs next year. New offensive line, I think, more than the outside presence. And that's why I brought up maybe even bringing in a guy like Perryman, who's already been here, who's already worked with Sam, and maybe they, in a new offense, they can really kind of gel together and come together on that, because, there's no sense in getting weapons that aren't going to be used correctly. And so, Jets go out here, they get this victory, 2 wins. I'm excited about that. Got to re-sign Marcus May. I'm excited for these guys. Like Lowell said, Nathan Shepard, 3 sacks in 2 games. I mean, you got to be excited for guys like that moving forward, especially if they're going to be on this football team. And so, listen, I appreciate you guys, so much of each and every week. But, we still need your help. We still need you to share this. We still need to get out there, because the more people that we reach, the more I can get, the more player interviews I can get, the more we can get ourselves out there, so I can get you the best information possible. We don't have any donation boxes or anything right now. We're working on that so that we can get different programs, get different analytics that we have to pay for to give you a more fine-tuned version of Jets Guru. But we got the call in. We're on Twitter at Guru Jets. We're on Instagram at Jets Guru. If you're on YouTube, go on YouTube, type in Jets Guru, and please follow our page and help push us to the next level. And what's so cool about that is a lot of you guys have watched games with me at the stadium, or, have watched games with me in a bar or something like that. You're going to be promoting something and be the very beginning of it, pushing it forward. And that's a cool thing, because when you see something growing, you're like, hey, man, I used to watch his show. I used to share his show. I used to call into his show, and now he's doing something more. That's a cool feeling. I've done that for other people, and I'm asking you to do that for us. We got a guy in JR, our producer. He's doing a great job. I mean, give it up to him. If you guys like the new look, all the new graphics, the intro, I mean, he's doing an amazing job. We got the audio show with Kevin, the Thursday nighter with Krista and Ramon. So we're trying to give you guys the best fan-driven, show that's out there, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And I just thank you so much as we get into the new year. Just hang in there, be safe, take care of yourself and your family. Love you guys, love the support, and we're going to get through this. There's going to be a day we're going to all wake up and we're going to see the Jets in a position to get to the playoffs. If the Browns can do it, anyone can do it. We were never as bad as the Browns. So hang in there. Thank you so much. JETS, Jets. We have a winning streak, baby. Peace.
Anybody can be beat. So how did that just feel? Feel great. Poetic justice. Anybody can be beat.
Namath back to pass on second down. Throws for the end zone. Touchdown for Vader. Here's Benny. Going to the end zone. And he makes the catch. Yes! Reveta's man. Fake to Martin. Then it's up. And it is juggled and caught by Jumbo Elliott. That's Jumbo. They have the hands
Down here on 81, Randy Moss. Yeah, Brady gonna go deep for Moss. Revis is there and picked it off. And it's brought down by Moss back at the 16-yard.
You set it down.